Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Nick. If you're new here, I'm a Brooklyn-based musician, and today I'm going to be talking about how to borrow chords from Harmonic Major. So some time ago I made a video on the modes of Harmonic Major, and that video did pretty well. Harmonic Major is not exactly the most common of scales. Harmonic Minor is a really popular one, but Harmonic Major is sort of like its cousin that doesn't get talked about as much. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm also going to talk about the chords in Harmonic Major, and I'm going to talk about how to borrow chords from them. If you're unfamiliar with the term borrowed chords, essentially all you're doing when you're using borrowed chords is borrowing from the parallel minor. Meaning, if you're in the key of C major, you have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, then you're going to borrow from the key of C minor. C minor is the relative minor of E flat major. So you have C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. So you're in the key of C major and you're taking from the key of C minor. However, we can also borrow chords from different scales, different modes, and we can also borrow from the harmonic major scale. Now, when we borrow from the parallel minor, the three notes that are different are E flat, B flat, and A flat. There's three altered notes, so it changes some of the chords, it changes a little bit of the infrastructure. A common example of this is Green Day's Wake Me Up When September Ends. They're in the key of G major, and when they hit the C chord, that's the 4 chord, they go to the C minor chord, which is the borrowed 4th. It's the minor 4. It's the 4 chord that belongs in G minor. And then they resolve it back into the key. So we can take some of these principles and apply them to harmonic major, and since there's only one note difference instead of 3, the chords are going to be a lot more similar. So now let's talk a little bit about harmonic major and the chords in harmonic major scale. So the harmonic major scale is really just the major scale flat 6. So in the key of C major we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. In the key of C harmonic major we have C, D, E, F, G, A flat, B, C. It's a really cool and interesting sound. It's a major scale but with the flat 6. Now this is a little different than, for example, major scale with the sharp 5, which is the third mode of harmonic minor, because we have the perfect 5th now. So we get some chord that kind of sounds like this. What's interesting about this is we have the root, the flat 6, the major 7, the major 3rd, and then the perfect 5th. Compared to harmonic minor, which wouldn't have the perfect 5th normally, it would just have the augmented 5th. So it's an extra tension tone and it sounds pretty cool. So when we have that scale, we can break those down into different triads. So the first triad is going to be C, E, G, just a regular C major. There's nothing different about that. Then now we hit the A flat, which is our altered tone. We have D, F, and A flat. So we have a D diminished triad. A little different because normally D is minor in the key of C major. Then we go to our E chord, which is going to be E, G, B. That's a regular old E minor. It's also in the key of C major. And then we have F minor. This is a little different because we have the A flat instead of the A natural. So our 4 chord is minor instead of the major 4 chord. So when songs are borrowing from that, you can also use harmonic major over that if you so pleased. Does that make sense? Is that what I'm saying? Anyway, then we get to our 5 chord, which is going to be G major. Just a regular old G major triad. Then the 6th chord is where it gets juicy because this is a flat 6, this is the altered tone. So we have A flat, C, E natural. This creates an A flat or a G sharp augmented triad. What's interesting about this though is that we also have an A flat diminished triad. We have A flat, B natural, and we have D natural. This is the flat 3rd and the flat 5. So we have the choice of using augmented or diminished for the 6th degree. So we have an extra chord we can borrow from actually. It's kind of interesting. And both the augmented and diminished chords work really well in transition. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then our final chord is B diminished. That's the same as it is in C major, so that's all cool, and then back to C major. So if we take a look at all the chords we have so far, we have C major from major, we have D minor from major, now we have D diminished from harmonic major, we have E minor, we have F major from major, F minor from harmonic major, G is the same in both of these two. Then we have A flat diminished or A flat augmented, both from harmonic major, then A minor. And then we have B diminished from both of them, and then C major again. So as a total now we have 11 triads as opposed to 7 that we have in major. Now whenever you're using these, essentially what I like to do is sort of sprinkle in a chord or two from harmonic major. Here's something that I came up with that has some really interesting voice leading examples. So the progression starts off with C major, and then we're going to go right away to A flat augmented. Now what's cool about this is A flat augmented has A flat, E, and C. Now again, since harmonic major is only one note different from major, we can change one note to get back to major. So if we go from A flat augmented to A minor, the only thing we're doing is raising the root a half step up, A flat to A. Then I'm going to go to A flat diminished, And now A flat diminished has A flat, D, and B. So now I'm gonna bring the root down and we get G major from A flat to G. So far we have C major, A flat augmented, A minor. Then we have A flat diminished, G major. And then I'm gonna go down to F major and then to F minor. And since we have the A to the A flat in the melody, I'm gonna go down another step to G. This is a C major chord. So the whole progression sounds like this. Kind of a really interesting progression, and we didn't really do much. We didn't really get anywhere else. Now another interesting part is the diminished chords. We have A flat diminished, B diminished, and D diminished. These are diminished triads in minor thirds, and actually the roots of them make a diminished chord. Like if we take A flat, B, and D, that's a diminished triad in itself. One thing that's cool about diminished chords is that we can resolve them in a bunch of different ways and we can get to different keys. So you can use these chords as sort of a pivot thing. If you want to know more about that, I have this video on diminished triads and how to get different places with them and different ways you can use them. So definitely check that out. You can apply all that stuff to these chords. So yeah, Harmonic Major is a great device. You can use all these chords in your songwriting or reharmonization, and it's really close to major. So when you're reharmonizing a melody, you can get away with using a lot more of these chords than you would if you were borrowing from like the relative minor or something like that, or the parallel minor. So that's about all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this. If you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe. I'm making new videos on things like this every Monday and Thursday. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.